Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. This channel is a brand new channel and it will be basically about a new lifestyle, a new change, a new identity, starting fresh, starting new, rebuilding, reinventing, just everything that you could think of under the sun. And it's gonna happen quick. So I hope you stay along for the ride. And if you do, like and subscribe and hit that little notification so y'all get the messages when we do upload. A little introduction of myself. I am Sabrina. I am a 44-year-old mother to 4 daughters and a wife to one amazing man. And I have been on YouTube. Really gone into depth with YouTube. I've just in and out, here and there, a little snippet there, a little snippet here. But now I can actually sit there and divulge more information, document more of my life, enjoy. This motherfucker is killing me right now. That's a little better because that heat was, whew, that heat was heating. Yes, I do have on a sweatshirt, but it was cold in the house. And I'm only going to be out for a little bit. And I honestly don't plan on getting out the car. But, really with the extremely slow turn. So, again, my lifestyle, my life, I haven't really been able to really just put anything out there. So, now with the change, with really just completely just making one of the biggest changes in my life, leaving a lot behind, leaving a lot just gone. My husband and I have decided that we are going to really focus on the us factor. We finally have an opportunity where we come first, and that's gonna be the main goal for life. And we just can't wait to enjoy it and document as we go. Now, I will say the life change that we have decided to do is crazy. It sounds crazy when you say it out loud, but when you've been thinking about it for about 10 years, man, it don't sound crazy at all. It really don't. So we have decided to completely leave home, completely leave, well, like not leave, but get rid of about 70% of our belongings, which will be somewhat easy because the last two are gone. Even though one of them has been gone for a while, she's actually decided to go another route, and her sister are moving out. So with that comes a journey for my husband and myself. And the craziest part is this is all happening within 30 days. 30 days goes like this. And it is so crazy that we're actually going to do this in 30 days. We will be getting a different vehicle. We'll be buying a new camper. We will be purging. Again, I said we're getting rid of about 70% of our belongings, and it will be easier because, my youngest two, they're leaving, so they're getting an apartment. They're going to need to furnish it and make sure that they have everything that they need, which my daughter does have a storage which has most of her stuff in it. But my youngest doesn't have anything, so that's gonna be everything. Whatever they want, they can have. Anything they don't will be donated. And I just can't wait. I really can't wait. We are going to just dive headfirst into camper life. Like, we are going to head first. And I do need to turn this air on because it's getting a little toasty. So we're doing it all, and we're doing it all in 30 days. Do I know how it's going to work? Absolutely not. I have not one idea as to what we're doing. I just know that for the last 10 years, I've wanted to be able to up and leave whenever I wanted, wherever I wanted, like to go wherever I wanted and do whatever I wanted. So not only will we be diving headfirst into camper life, we won't be completely like travel mode because my husband still does have a stationary job. Mine is remote. However, I am over working for anybody. I am over being on somebody else's payroll. We have taken the initiative to open a business and really go for it, because what else is better to do than to actually just go for it. So we'll be up in the Northeast area probably for the next 3 months, but we won't be like really we won't be in a house. So we are gonna completely commit to being in a camper, which will make a little bit more sense because we'll be able to feel things out. We'll be able to see what we need, see what we don't need, see what issues we may come across, like little different things like that, on top of still being close and nearby, so that way the transition is somewhat seamless. I can't say it's gonna be perfect and it's not gonna be no hiccups, but it'll be a little bit seamless. It'll be a little bit seamless, like it'll be easier. So we do plan on doing that, and then eventually we will be just traveling. You know, that's the goal, that's the plan, that is the ideal life. We want to relieve ourselves from, probably, I wish I could say, oh, we're relieving ourselves not only from 70% of our possessions, but 70% of 70% of our belongings, but also 70% of our responsibility, which we can't. And to be realistic, I can realistically say that we will be relieving ourselves of about 50%. I'll say a good number to say that is realistic is 50%. So about 50% of our responsibilities will be lifted. And I say this because we can never not be parents, you know? We can never not be parents. So there will always be communication. There'll always be life events. There will always be, dang, this post office is packed today. Why? What is going on? So there's nothing but pollen on the front of this car. My car is dirty. So we can never sit here and say that we won't have any responsibilities, because that's just the furthest thing from the truth. And it's a reality, but it's an okay reality, because I'd rather have 50% of the easy responsibilities than 100% of the headaches and stress that come with the other part of the responsibilities. Let me see. Another thing that I can say, this is like basically gonna be like a little intro video of who I am, why we're doing things, what the plan is, what's going on, and just giving you a little bit of something, just so that way you can see, do you even want to stay around? Do you want to come on? Do you want to take a trip with us? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this at all? But yeah, so that is the logical reasoning of things. Now with that, I will say that we have one of the biggest reasons is to alleviate financial burdens and financial stress. The one thing that you will realize as Americans is that we accumulate so much stuff. We just, for absolutely no reason, will have things that will sit in a corner that we'll never touch. And it sucks because possessions are for what? Especially when you're not using them. And as we get older, you really take into consideration like what you're doing, why you're doing it, and maybe like if you really shouldn't be. So living where we live, right? And this is the basic bullshit everything, right? Living where we live. Cost of living is not the highest it is in America, but it's one of the highest places. It's crazy. So just rent in certain places is astronomical, and just with saying, okay, we're gonna do camper life, that way we can travel. Our basis is, all right, we pay so much for travel, we pay so much for rent, we really don't have the option of travel when it comes to certain things. I feel like my camera lens is filthy. Okay, maybe that's a little better, but it still looks a little dusty. Travel is limited, whereas in indulging ourselves in the camper life, we have more opportunity to travel. We knock down our cost of living. We literally knock down because 2 kids are leaving and we're leaving a rental, and the bills that come with that rental and the filling up of things, we're literally knocking our expenses down by like 65%, 75%. And it's crazy. Not because we think that camper life is cheaper and that it's going to be so much easier, because we have put in our heads like there are things that come up, there are other expenses that do come up, but I'd rather have an extra $2,000 to travel for a week out of the month than have to use that $2,000 just to have 4 walls and a roof over our head that we literally only spend majority of our time in one room. So what's the difference? Whereas the cost, the expense of living in a rental and living in a camper, that alone for us would save us close to $4,000 a month. And for when you look at people and they're like, oh, it's about roughly $2,500 to $5,000 a month, depending on how you live, depending on how you do it, depending on whatever this is, to have camper life, I'll take that, because my base is almost $4,000 of just a payment to have 4 walls and a roof. So when you think about it like that, it really makes sense to actually do it and actually be able to save. I will be right back. I have to run into this post office and check my P.O. box. That's another thing. We've had a P.O. box for almost 2 years, so it's not like we can't get our mail, and we do have people that can access it. So I'll be right back. But yeah, can still forward any physical address mail to my P.O. box, can forward any, well, can have any of my deliveries delivered to my P.O. box or to the pickup locations, which I've done that too. Like, I've done that with having an actual residential address, so that's not anything out of the norm for me. That's not anything out of the norm for me, so that's just something that I'm used to doing. And yes, I'm pretty sure you're realizing, dang, like, your rent was really high. Here's the problem with that. When you have children, you sacrifice, right? So it's like, what do I do? It just so happened that we were in the process of moving, and jeez, why are my vents not open like this? It's crazy. So we were in the process of moving. Our house had gotten sold. They were gonna remodel it, and we were gonna move back. They took way too long with the remodel. And I mean, when I say way too long, I mean it was like 3 months. They said it was gonna be 2 months, which I knew. I had been there for quite some time. I knew the house that no. And it ended up taking 5 or 6 months. Was it 5 or 6 months? Yeah, 6 months to actually complete. So by that time, we were living in an Airbnb. It had been like just the rent was what it was, and we did long-term Airbnb because we thought we were going to go back into there. Unfortunately, it ran into the school year. So with that, my daughter said, hey, we were driving around one day, and we had driven by one of the schools in our state, and she was like, look at that college. And I'm like, that's not a college, that's a high school. So she was entering high school, and obviously you have to be in district in order to go to that school. So she said she wanted to go to that school. So what we chose to do was find a place and move into district. So that's what we did, and that's where we stayed. And she's excelled to the point where it made it so worth it. Not to say, oh, it wouldn't have been worth it if she didn't, because it's a school that she wanted to go to, and absolutely I would love for her to start and finish in a school that she wanted to go to. Oh, this doesn't have it. Okay. So it just made sense, and like I said, she's excelling phenomenally. Like, she's doing so many things that she would have never done had she went to the actual high school in our previous location. And I say that only because I've had 3 kids in that school that they did what they did, and they were great in that school. However, the push was self-made, I guess you could say. Whereas this school is motivated her to be better and excuse me. I'll make sure I still have my mic on. I went into the post office with my mic on. Oh my God. So, this school has made her better as a human being, better as a person, want better for herself. And, only because, she's the youngest, the older 3, they were doing their thing. So she was kind of like not left behind, but just didn't grow up with siblings that were right there at her age. So this school has introduced her into a lot of things. And one of the programs that she's in this school will help with college, which is something that she actually wants to do. So I'm all for it. 1000%. I applaud it. I agree with it. And so when I say moving into the location to be in district for her, I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't go back and change it at all. So yes, did the expense hit a little bit? Absolutely. But absolutely worth it at the same time. Now that she is leaving, we don't have to have the burden of that expense being so high anymore, because now, one, downsizing regardless from a multi-bedroom, multi-bathroom house, right, to a camper, in reality, a camper, because that's what we're doing. We're going into a camper. Dang, you got a whole lot of stuff that is being donated today. I'm like, where's my... Let's see it. So, downsizing just in that sense is enough. But again, the crazy part is that even though you downsize your home to something smaller, where we live, the price doesn't downsize with it. So even though, yeah, you're getting into something smaller, you could be still paying damn near what we're paying now. So that's the other thing. And so we'll still be confined to not being able to just leave, and not being able to travel, and not being able to enjoy the things that we're setting our minds to enjoying right now. So that is one of the things that we will be... I don't know, is he still taking stuff out of his trunk? Yeah, so... All right, so... Hold on, give me one moment. Let me just try and get this stuff. Let me push up so that I can actually fucking pull out, no problem, because it don't look like he can. I mean, I'm sure he can drive the best, but you know, when just don't want to give any reason for it not to. Come on, guys, move so I can. Thank you. Look like everybody purging right now. Hit nothing over there, but dang. Goddamn locks.
Those can go right in the bucket. I don't blame you. The more coupons you get, the more tempted you get.
Yeah, and then you find something like, oh, this is a good deal. This is a good deal.
Some people, they bring back stuff and it has the old tag on it. I'm like, did you even do anything with it? They definitely got to downsize to that.
Oh, yeah. Hey, thank you.
Thank you. You as well.
Yeah, usually I'll be quick to get a little coupon and go into there and shop. And I kind of was tempted, I'm not gonna lie, because, you know, we could probably find some things that we do need for the camper in there, but we're not doing that right now. And in all honesty, we have so much more stuff to donate that I can always get a coupon once we're done with everything. So Okay. I forgot where I was at, but yeah, so the price doesn't really go down, so it's kind of just doesn't make any sense. And again, like I said, I don't want to be tied to anything. My my thought process, and I kept going for the last few years, and I'm like, listen, I just want my address to be my passport. That is it. I don't want a bricks and sticks house. I want to just be able to go and live somewhere for a month, go and live somewhere for a couple months, go somewhere for a week, and then go somewhere else for the following week. Like, I was adamant, and I'm like, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And if my husband didn't have a stationary position within his job, best believe I would have been like, you know what, bye to all of this stuff, and traveled without hesitation, without even the slightest hesitation, right? But that's not the case. So what we are going to do is get a camper and start this new journey with really looking at focusing on living, focusing on being able to travel. So yeah, we might not be able to live somewhere. We might not be able to live somewhere else for a month out of the country, and then somewhere else for a month out of the country. But we can do it in the country. We could do it like that. We don't have to go far. We don't have to really do anything that's gonna take us out of anywhere where we can't enjoy life, you know. This lady parking her big ass truck right next to me, like, you are in a big spot. No, you are where a pole is, so you can't even take up the actual whatever. So that right there is where we'll be saving and being able to utilize the saved money, not only to save for what does he want?
Oh, this nigga so dope sick since after lunch. Yo, this nigga's been in the vein. This nigga hit up fucking
You know, you can't really ever tell what's gonna happen in a conversation with him. So he's got a little situation at work, so I'd rather not let that be recorded for legal purposes. But yeah, so that would be part of the savings that we're looking at. That'll be part of the stuff that we sit there, okay, that portion, amazing. Now, food. And I know a lot of people say we're gonna eat out, this and this, like they eat out too much, or they don't cook as much as they plan to, this and this and that, whatever the case may be. Here's the thing with that. We're going into the summer months, and my husband loves to cook outside. So as long as he got his flat top, like he is good. He is good. He will cook everything and anything outside. So being in a camper doesn't do anything but utilize his cooking. That, and then food waste. I know I'm not the only person. I know for a fact I'm not the only person who overshops and undereats, and then undershops and overeats to where you gotta order excess food or order out or whatever the case may be. So the plan is to really be looking at it like, okay, yes, I know. Is that Kyle? No. So I know right now I would, for lack of better words, I overshop. Like it's there's no way around it. I overshop. And the problem is I shop for everyone in the house. So you have 4 different people who want specific items from the grocery store, but don't eat them in time for them not to go to waste. So we're wasting food. That's the biggest thing, that we end up throwing it out. Like that is the biggest thing. That is the worst part of a lot of stuff, is that no matter what, we end up wasting food. We end up throwing out produce that should have been eaten. And I know, like, our grocery budget will be significantly lower because we can only purchase what we can eat at the moment, because there isn't much of a fridge, there isn't much of a pantry. I can honestly say, and this is just knowing my husband, extremely basic when it comes to food, to his meals, to what he'll eat, what he'll, like, he does not care. That man does not care. He does not care. He does not care. He will have the same, like, 4 or 5 staple meals, and as long as he has those, he's good. Now, the other part of that is that I'm pescatarian and nobody else is. So everybody eats meat except me. So in hindsight, yes, when I eat my fish, that doesn't go to waste because I'm only purchasing for myself. But don't get me wrong, there's days that I don't feel like cooking, so I won't eat any fish or anything like that. So I'll just eat the non-meat items that they're eating and not add anything to it, or I'll just make something quick. So with that, I'm still making 2 different meals, whereas if it's just me and my husband, he'll eat what I cook. Now granted, is he gonna want to eat fish all the time and not have a steak or not have whatever? No, he's gonna still want to eat his meat, but at the same time, pause, he's still gonna be, he's not gonna be plant-based or pescatarian. He's still gonna want a steak, he's still gonna want a burger, he's still gonna want chicken, so that is definitely still gonna be a purchase. However, instead of getting a big ass pack of chicken that is $10, I can, or $16 sometimes, I can get a little 2-pack and he can cook that. I can get a little 1 steak and he can cook that. Like, and everything is still that he can cook it with whatever I'm eating on the flat top. Now his staple meals are, like I said, he's very basic, he's very simple, he's very easy. I think the only meals that he would sit there and that he has ever, in the entire time we've been together, this man will eat rice. That is his staple. He could do rice and beans mixed. He could do rice with black beans. He could do rice with any type of bean. He could do just the beans on the side, the beans in a sauce. Like, he can do rice and beans, no problem. By the way, we are both Puerto Rican. I'm also Cape Verdean and Portuguese. So rice is a big part of our life. Beans is a big part of our life. By the way, I'm only pescatarian when I'm in the States because I don't trust a lot of the meat that is there, even though, yes, my family eats it. I do prefer to eat, when I go on vacation, yes, I am not pescatarian because I like to eat everything and anything. Why? Because there are less antibiotics in these farm-grown animals that are farm to table. Like, the everything is so under processed, not even under, it's just not overly processed, that everything just tastes better. Your gut health is so much better. But yeah, I'm getting away from what I was talking about. We really like can save in that aspect. He can on his flat top there, I know there's another word for it, his Blackstone, right? On his Blackstone, he can make a fish, a steak, and that right there is good. And then we do like rice, and then our vegetable, because we're both big on eating asparagus. We both love salads, so for lunches we can do certain things. Before, when I was big into the gym, I meal prepped my weeks. Like, I meal prepped my weeks, so I know like there are certain things that we do have. I still have meal prep containers, so I know that we can do meal preps for lunch and dinner for the week, and hopefully have that space. I gotta see what fridge I know the fridge I want. This is why it's taking us a little bit to get the camper, but I know the fridge that I want. I know the fridge that I've seen, and the fridge that has been coming in these campers that we've been looking at, they're just so small. And yes, it would probably fit, but whatever. But anyway, the staple meals that my husband, the whole time we've been together, rice, like I said, biscuits and gravy. Biscuits and sausage gravy. When I tell you that man can eat that probably at least once or twice a week, that is his staple thing. When he is hungry, he will do rice with eggs on it. Like, he does. Our upbringing is full of ghetto meals, like legit ghetto meals. So it's so easy to just come up with these little quick meals. We both love sardines. We both love mackerels. So we both love tuna. We both love salmon. So there's other little things. Like, there was one day I made salmon burgers and he loved them. So it was different from having a regular burger. Like I said, it's not going to be that he won't eat fish with me, because he will. It's going to be that there's going to be different times that he is going to still want certain things. So that's going to be the way that it works. He'll eat fish tacos. So, you know, there's different things that we can do to still not have to have separate budgets as far as food goes. So there's one of the other things that we will be saving on when it comes to our finances. Our budget for food will significantly drop. Our waste will significantly drop. On another note, our car payment, what we are looking for right now is to purchase a camper outright. So yes, we were looking at the newer campers because we're not looking for anything big either. Like, we're looking for maybe maximum 20 foot, which I'm really not even, I think we've looked at a few 16 and 17s and they were ample space. Again, my husband works outside the home. I work inside the home. The main space that we are in right now, currently, our house has a master suite, which means our bathroom is right off of our bedroom. There is nothing different than being in a camper where your bathroom is right across from where you sleep. The main things are, we want to have a very comfortable sleeping area and a dry bath. That is the biggest thing. One of the bonuses that I would like would be the bigger fridge. But I just completely lost train of thought. So Jesus, I forgot what I was talking about. That completely like just threw me. Give me a second. What the fuck? I know I was talking about space and being in there and saving money with the food part. Oh, the car that we're looking at. So I'm like, whew. So we are looking to purchase our camper outright, like I said. So yes, I know I said car, but that's going to go into the reasoning of the camper, because we will be getting a different type of vehicle. Right now we're in an SUV, and yes, an SUV can pull the size trailer that we want, but I want a specific truck. My husband has a work vehicle. That is his everyday back and forth to work, so not worried about that part. It's our everyday car that we need to drive and what's going to tow around basically our home. So, looking at purchasing one outright. Why? I don't really want to make too big of an investment in our first year of trial and error. I feel like our first year is definitely going to be trial and error. We got to see like what space actually works for us. I don't want to say, okay, yeah, we can get into a 17 foot and then we just need a little bit more space, so we should have got a 20, you know, like, or I don't want it to be where we get because not for nothing, these newer trailers that have more problems than the older trailers, so it's just been hectic. Hold on one second. And I'm back again. When the phone rings and it's my husband, we never know what he's gonna say, so we have to make sure that we gotta make sure that we pause because he's crazy, and for legal purposes we just can't have that on record. But yeah, so like I was saying, we are planning on buying our initial camper. We're looking to purchase it outright. Maybe purchase an older model because we are wanting to purchase it outright. And again, there are newer campers that are significantly less as well. But I'm not sure if we wanted to actually go that route, because I do want to spend the least amount in trying to really figure out what works for us. I don't want to jump in and be like, oh, we're gonna do this, because who's to say, because again, we have made plans to do a lot of stuff, and my husband's company is worldwide, and again, we have taken the initiative to start a business, so we really don't know which one is gonna boom and change our lives right now. But again, it's not nationwide, it is universal, I guess. Not universal, worldwide. Why I couldn't think of that word is beyond me, but there it is, worldwide. He could get sent anywhere. He could get a transfer anywhere at any point if we requested it. So that's something that is a possibility. We might not even be in the States or whatever, so we might not need a camper in the long run, or we might actually want to do something else. Again, I said when I first wanted to do it, I wanted to do van life, and that was a moving thing, but that was with me being solo and just it being me only. Now with a husband, I want to make sure that when we do have, if one person wants to leave, we don't both have to go, because now we're taking our home with us every time we go somewhere. So that was the option of with getting the camper and the vehicle. Now, like I said, the vehicle, we will also be getting a new vehicle. I am looking at a particular one, and I am in love with it. I actually need to see if it is, I need to look at it. But I have an idea of what I want, and I am determined to get it. Now, the vehicles change all the time on the inventory list. But how we're doing it now is, you know, we don't initially have like a car payment. I have been renting a vehicle for, oh my God, I've been renting a vehicle for so long. Probably about 3 years now. And for me, it just made sense. A car payment plus insurance is high up there. You know, if you want a brand new car, maintenance on a car. I personally enjoyed the having a brand new car. If something happened, I swap out my car. If I don't like the car anymore, I swap out the car. If for any reason, anything, it needs I can swap out the car. Like, that has been it with my credit card. It covers the insurance of the vehicle, so I'm good with that. But all inclusive, it's been a decent number until, I will say until recently, what the hell? Until recently, where it's been fluctuating a little more than anticipated. Once upon a time you have a hookup, and then when that hookup disappears, you have to go by the way that it is. And even though you've been a customer for years to the same place, people act brand new, and loyalty does not matter with companies, with some companies. So the price has been crazy, even in the option of also, like, okay, you can have the car up to a month or whatever, then you have to either restart or change it out or whatever. So we get an SUV, and the price has just been crazy. Like, 1 minute it's like 800, and then the next, like, 1 week it was like, 1 month it was like 1600. Did I pay that? No, I'd rather be without a car before I pay that. So that's how that worked. Not to mention, like I said, my husband has a company vehicle, so it is what it is. But there's not only just that, there's like a whole lot of, I'm waiting for my daughter to come out here. I'm picking her up from school. So there's that, but it's just like, okay, we have that payment, which is absurd to be sitting there and it keep fluctuating the way it is, depending on the year, depending on the time of year, depending on the month, depending on whatever they have going on, that they just decide that they want to increase prices or decrease prices. The last time I had to renew my contract, it was cheaper to get a whole new contract and whole new car than to just extend the car that I had, which is insane. So I got a whole different car. I like it. Like I said, 1 minute I can be, if I needed to, a smaller car if I have to drive a lot and I want to save on gas, or if I'm going to be moving stuff, I can get a truck. So there's like different things of how I've always liked to be able to have it. Now, as far as, like I said, the payment for the new car doesn't change. The payment for the new car, now, the thing is once you get this new car, you kind of like stuck in the car, like, basically, so that's the only thing. That's why I'm like really looking at the one that I want. We will definitely be getting a pickup. So, oh my God. See, this is what happens when you look at inventory. Like, I just opened it, and my favorite car is the Infiniti QX80. That is my favorite car, and I'm looking at it right now, and oh my God, it is beautiful. It is a 2024, and it is gorgeous. Gorgeous. When you go to look, and it's like you put up what you want, what you prefer, your whatever, and it shows you what's on your list. That's how my list, and that's what just got but anyway, yeah, so definitely looking at a big boy, and probably gonna have to get that. Like I said, we're doing all of this in 30 days. I don't know if I said in the beginning, because at this point this video is way longer than I had anticipated. Way longer. But like I said, this is going to give you the backstory. This is going to tell you a little bit of the stuff that's going on, and we're just going to keep you informed. And like I said, take this journey with us and really make it happen, because shit don't happen if you don't speak on it. You got to speak shit into fruition. So that's what we are doing. That's what this channel is about. But anyway, yeah, we're looking at a big boy. I'm looking at it right now, and oh my God, that QX80 was like, but the QX80 ain't gonna be able to tow much. So my cars that I'm looking at, that I always look at, that I love, these are my like Infiniti QX80 is one of them. The Jeep Grand Wagoneer is another one. The Jeep Grand Cherokee is another one. The Ram, that's I've wanted a Ram since 2018. I have wanted a Ram. I ain't had no reason to have a Ram though. I ain't even gonna bullshit you. I've had it maybe a couple of times. I rented one out. Prices are crazy, but oof, it just make you feel so sexy jumping in and out of that bad boy. Oof. But yeah, definitely looking at that. So those are my 4 cars of choice. Those are like my dream cars, I should say. If I ever had like a fleet of cars, all 4 would be in it. So yeah, we're doing that. The payment will be standard, the payment will make sense, and again, it just works, which is the biggest thing that you want to have happen. Now, with all of that, that is basically how we figure that we're going to save some money, basically what our plan is, why we're doing this, and finally just having the opportunity to just really live the way that we want to live and do the things that we want to do and enjoy the things that we want to enjoy. So, and really take the initiative. When I tell you I've been sitting here talking to you, and usually I've been sitting here looking around like, who's looking at me talk? But I think this was one of the reasons that one of my channel before had really like not flourished, was because I really just couldn't sit there talking. I really just couldn't sit there and get into the groove of having a conversation and doing all of that, which I will tell you that this is probably the first conversation that has felt comfortable, has felt just uncoerced. Like, it's just been great. Like, it just has flowed for me. And it's just really like doing what I would normally do, just talk to whoever I'm talking to. So now we're going to be besties. Like, now the way I talk to my best friend every day is going to be how I talk to you every day, letting you know the ins and outs and what's going on. Yes, I might have been boring, but just understand that today was the backstory. Today was the logistics of everything. Today was this is who we are, this is what we're doing, and this is why. Hopefully you understand, and hopefully you are ready to continue this journey with us. Take this journey and do with it what you will. Like, give us the tips, the tricks, the insight, and everything else, and really hope for the best for us. Right now, I'm waiting for my daughter to come to the car, but I will get back on and probably have my husband with me. Like I said, he's at work, but just do the planning part. Like, I want to document every single part of it. I want to document all the aspects of what we're doing. I want to make sure that we are documenting everything. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. So this video is now an hour long. If you're ready, like, comment, I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's get it. Subscribe so that way we can continue this together. Hit that notification bell so that way you are told every single time we upload. Again, my name is Sabrina. My husband's name is John. And we are about to just do this. So, on to the next day. I'll see you tomorrow. Well, I'll see you later, actually.